Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. Today I want to talk to you about Mason Mount. It's the middle of the night in the UK. I've just woken up in the morning, checked the news, saw that Kai Havertz has been sold. Chelsea have sold a bunch of players to Saudi Arabia. The clear out, the rebuild, the revamp is in full swing. And today I want to talk about Mount because my opinions on this one, my position on Mount in terms of supporting him, wanting him to stay, has changed. I think Chelsea need to sell now. And I want to tell you in this video why it's time that we do that. And I want to try in the process of doing all of this to avoid the terminology of proper Chelsea. Okay, I've used the terminology before, and the more I watch social media, the more I see social media and I see the disparity and the discord sometimes between fan opinions when we are all, I think, hoping for the same outcomes. Chelsea to be good at football, Chelsea to win, players to be at Chelsea that we all know want to be there and see Chelsea as the step in their career where they can't get higher. So proper Chelsea is a term that I think has been diluted now to a point where the meaning of it from person to person can become either super aggressive, super loose. So for that reason, I want to avoid that terminology in today's video. What I don't want to avoid though is pointing you guys in the direction of my Telegram. 2 VIP tickets to Chelsea Liverpool being given away in the next 9 days, as well as a signed Lampard shirt. Link at the top of the description. Make sure you've joined. Mason Mount. Let's talk first of all about where we are with what we understand from this Manchester United bid. From what we believe at this point in time, Mount doesn't want to sign a new Chelsea deal. Man United came in last week with a bid of £40 million, which is almost half what Chelsea's valuation is of Mount, even with 1 year left on his deal. We're going to talk about that in a bit more depth in a moment. Yesterday, Man United's new approach, £50 million, and Chelsea rejected the deal. Understand Man United will bid again for Mason Mount. Personal terms are 100% agreed and sealed. So that means that Mount has got the contract offer from United. He's happy with it. He's signed it. He wants it. But obviously in order for that move to go through, Chelsea need to accept it. He's still got 1 year left on his deal. So Chelsea could just be blocking this move all summer. And in which case, it'll probably piss Mount off even more. The likelihood of him changing his mind as a result of Chelsea just being like, nope, you're staying. Even if you sit on the bench because you don't want to be here, you're staying. Chelsea do that, Mount never signs a new contract. United want quick resolution and won't make crazy bids. The reason why part of me feels as though this deal still won't happen is because of what is happening off the field at Manchester United. Manchester United, they think that there might be a Qatari takeover happening. Fans at this point, some of them still don't want it to happen because too many people are worried about state-owned clubs and people still haven't accepted that this is what football is now. There's too many things to backtrack on. We can't go back. We're in. Unfortunately, we're in. That's where I stand on things. The Qatari bid for Manchester United, it's complicated. The Glazers, do they want to give up the majority of the club? No. Do they want to sell a portion of it? Yes. But the Qataris want to own Manchester United. They don't want the Glazers involved. So when we talk about these crazy bids that Fabrizio Romano speaks of here, I think if the bid happens and the takeover of Man United goes through, I don't think they're worried about 50 million for Mount or 60 million for Mount. I think they just do it because Mount wants the move. What the terms that have been offered are good, they're favourable, United are happy, they get a 24-year-old English footballer who still probably has the peak years of his career ahead of him. The reason I'm at a point now where I don't want Mount at Chelsea anymore is because when you look at all of the business that we're doing, you look at all of these player sales, it's now time, in my opinion, that we start to praise the owners. We've criticised them so heavily, but we're getting the work done now. We're getting the business done this summer, and we're still in communication with Caicedo. We could be on the verge of signing Nicholas Jackson. We've signed Christopher Nkunku, Malo Gusto. And Chelsea knew this summer we needed to offload a load of players, and we're doing that, and we're getting good fees for these players. So for that, Lawrence Stewart is reportedly the person dealing with the outgoings. Credit to Lawrence Stewart. I'm all for criticising the owners when they're doing something wrong, but I'm all for praising them as well when things go well. So for that reason, Chelsea's rebuild is no joke. Chelsea aren't just waiting for the course of this summer to go on and, maybe we'll still see if there was a spot for Ziyech in the team if we don't manage to bring in the right targets. No. All the players that don't want to be here are being sold. And if Mason Mount doesn't want to be here, pure profit to come into Chelsea's books because we've never spent a penny on him, other than his wages, of course, then I think it is time now that Chelsea just gave up on Mason Mount, because Mason Mount has given up on Chelsea. We can talk all we want about players who want to be at Chelsea. We should do everything that we can to help them be here, to facilitate looking at Chelsea as the main step in their career, as the club that they want to be at, the club they want to spend the best years of their career at. It's always been an issue for me. I've always thought, well, with Eden Hazard, I was upset that he wanted to go to Real Madrid, but I get it. When you're that good, when you give that much to Chelsea Football Club and you want to play for Zidane, you've dreamt of playing for Real Madrid, I can understand it. The reason with Mount it doesn't sit very well and it feels sour now is because all of the interviews, all of the things we've seen Mount say, all of the things he's shown on the pitch showed me that he was one of those players who wanted to have a Chelsea legacy. And unfortunately, this isn't me digging Mount out here, but N'Golo Kante will leave Chelsea this summer with a bigger and better legacy than Mason Mount did. And that is me sentimentally being sad that Mount's legacy didn't become what I thought it was going to do, because at the end of the day, it's still his career. He still makes his own decisions. If he doesn't want to be at Chelsea, after the chaos that's happened, I can understand it. But the man's been here since he was 8 years old. And we've always been led to believe that Mount was potentially a future captain. I've always thought Reece James should be and will be Chelsea's future captain, and I think that's been proven right now. But Mount leaving for Manchester United, Chelsea, I don't see any way. The more we keep hearing about he wants the move, it is Man United. They're in the Champions League next season. And I think too many of us, myself included, have forgotten the European football element. Chelsea and Mount, relationships off the field may have soured. New owners may have come in. And for Mount, who's been here since he was 8 years old, all of those off the field changes, even communications personally or interpersonally between Mount, different members at the club, board owners, Todd Boehly himself. What we heard about the contract offers around the time of the World Cup was everything was good, and then it was just retracted. And what, Mount wasn't the best in the World Cup, but was it that bad that we just don't think he's worth that money anymore? No. And I think maybe the real discord that's happened between Mount and Chelsea at Chelsea is a result of communication maybe not being what Mount was used to. And for that reason, plus the fact we finished 12th, he wants to leave. And now it's time that we let him go. If he doesn't want to be a Chelsea player, keeping him against his desire at this point, when we've said that we'll sell this summer if the right move comes in because we don't want him to leave for free, let's just get this one over and done with now. Man United, I do think, will come in and spend £60 million. Maybe they don't spend 65 million. The bid goes through and they get taken over by the Qataris, maybe they do. But I think it is time that Chelsea let Mason Mount go. Pochettino, we need to remember what we will have next season. We have a new manager who wants Chelsea back at the top. We have owners and a board who need Chelsea back at the very top. We cannot be allowing players who are a big part of this club but are certainly not bigger than the club. We cannot let these sagas leave Pochettino in a position where he doesn't know his best 11. I've said it all summer, and at this point, we're doing very well with this. We need to know when Pochettino comes through the door on the 1st of July, first things first, the players that aren't going to be here need to be majority gone. Not every deal's going to have gone through. There's still going to be some that need finalising, and there'll still be a couple up in the air. But the majority of players that won't be Chelsea players next season, I think Pochettino will be in a great position to know who these ones are from sales we've already done. We also need to get moving now when it comes to players coming in. Is it Caicedo? All right, if it's Caicedo, let's get him through the door. Is Lavia the other one? All right, let's beat Arsenal to the signature. They've just spent 65 mil on Havertz, and they're desperate for Declan Rice. So let's get that one done as well. Stop City from the buyback clause. Let's make sure Chelsea cement this midfield. Gabri Veiga, if he's the guy that Pochettino wants, okay, cool. I'm done now with players trying to leave Chelsea for ransom, or, for example, Romelu Lukaku, he doesn't want to go to Saudi. All right, fair enough. You only want Inter Milan? Well, that's cute, but unfortunately, Chelsea want you sold. You don't want to be here, so don't just sit around at Chelsea because it's nicer than Saudi. I get it, you're contracted to Chelsea. It's our fault for spending the money on you. In the Mount situation, he's got 1 year left on the deal. We've got to sell him. Chelsea have done very well so far with the business coming in this transfer window, and the profit from Mount is significantly better than allowing things to fester, go sour, and ruin what Pochettino can do, because there is a high-profile player at the club who doesn't want to be here anymore. Okay, let him go. End of story. I'm hoping that I managed to give my thoughts on this today without using too many of the proper Chelsea and bracketing players as more important, love Chelsea more, love Chelsea less. This isn't about that. This isn't about any of that. Mount's got a banner, correct. Nice. He's had a good legacy, not a Kante legacy. It's time to let him go. That's my thoughts on the situation. I think he's going to be sold within the next 2 weeks. And at this point, if he really doesn't want to stay, isn't interested in what Pochettino is going to do here, then he's gone. Let him go. Come on, you Blues.